Hey guys, this is Brad from Blue Nile Farm. Today we're on episode number 18 from the Farming from Scratch series. And today we're going to discuss utility tractors. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. I really love these things. And I'm kind of going to be talking about how they can benefit you and why it is a good purchase to think about having. What's nice about a utility tractor, and we're going to put a definition to it, is a tractor between, say, 50 and maybe 70 to 80 horsepower. That's what I consider a utility tractor. Now, some places you may have them, say, 100 or more, but I'm sticking with somewhere around the 70 to 80 range for a specific reason, and that's because of the tractor width and the tractor weight. And it has a lot to do with what you do with it. So tractors between 50 and 80 horsepower, Cat 2 tractors, meaning they have a little bit of bigger holes with their 3-point, and you can actually lift a little heavier pieces of equipment, and it will do you a little bit better. Now, when we talk about a weight of a utility tractor, we're talking about something probably around 5,000 to 7,000 pounds, give or take. And that's something that most people could actually own, put it on the trailer, and drive it without worrying about getting a CDL and be able to use it for a lot of different purposes. They're really wonderful. Secondly, utility tractors can do just about everything. You can get brush hogs for them. You can get flail mowers for them. You can get finishing mowers for them. You can get all kinds of attachments that are on the market. Anything, a lot of times that you're looking for rototillers, you can get 6-foot, 7-foot, 8-foot tillers. You can get big box scrapers. You can get York rakes. There's so many different attachments that could be used for a utility tractor that, I can't even mention. But you can pretty much anything you need to use them for, you have that ability to use with a utility tractor. Because every time that you get a bigger piece of equipment, it speeds up the job. And when you get a tractor with more horsepower coupled with an attachment, you can get so much done and so much done quicker that you're going to be very satisfied with the results. Also, when we talk about loaders, probably the most important thing that I can say about a utility tractor versus a compact is that your lifting capacity is going to be increased dramatically. And what I mean by that is a lot of utility tractors have lifting capacities that can lift a ton or better. And that is the most important factor, is being able to lift at least a ton. Because when you get a yard of dirt, it weighs about a ton. When you get a skid full of grain or skid full of horse bedding, and you got to go buy it from, say, Tractor Supply, it's going to be a ton. So you want to get a machine that you can use to come in to a trailer or a wagon or a back of a truck, get a set of forks for it on a front end loader, come in, be able to pick that off and take it and put it in the barn or put it somewhere safe, and knowing that you have peace of mind that that tractor can move larger weight material. Same thing with buying grapples for it. A grapple on a utility tractor, you can actually grab logs and larger pieces of material. When you have a compact tractor that only has a lifting capacity of about 1,000 pounds, you're basically comparing logs to twigs. And it makes a huge difference in what you can do. The other thing is the safety factor of being able to pick up material and basically move it around. When you're going to feel a lot safer with the bigger machine than you will with the smaller machine. So that's one of the benefits of that too. But there's so many different attachments, and you can get a third function valve that's put on your utility tractor that basically you can sit on the cab and basically use your thumb and basically purchase those things with grapples where you can actually grab something and pick it up. If you're into farming and you're doing hay, obviously a bale spear is very important, and you can lift pretty much any bale out there on the market, everything from a 4x4 bale all the way up to a 6x6 bale, and I've done it with my tractors, and able to pick them up and move them without a problem with a utility tractor. So those are big pluses. There's so many different buckets and attachments, and you can actually do tree removal if you have the right tool. And so there's just, like I say, so many different possibilities that are available to you that I can tell you. If you're into bale wrapping and you need to get a bale grabber. My utility tractors, I use it in bale wrapping, which I have a 3-point model where I can wrap bales with it. Utility tractors are great for in baling hay, raking hay. I run my balers on them. So I'm able to run a lot of smaller farm equipment with a utility tractor that I cannot use for a compact tractor. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some little mini things that you can use with a compact tractor, but they're not efficient. A lot of things that you can buy with the utility tractors will fit them generically. And what's nice also about utility tractors is if you go to auctions or you buy a lot of used equipment, they're more readily available at a cheaper cost to find them that will fit a utility tractor than you will ever find fitting a compact tractor. Compact tractors, a lot of the equipment are a lot smaller. They have smaller hitches, and a lot of times they're not really on the market as much as utility tractor sizes. And when I talk about utility tractor size, I'm talking equipment with 72-inch or better as far as width. And they're all Cat 2 or Cat 1. And that's what's nice about a utility tractor. You can use Category 1 or Category 2, which are basically based on the holes, sizes. But you have more diversity with the Cat 2 type of tractor because you can go up and down, and you can buy sleeves that will actually fit in and basically make you able to use either type category. Because a lot of compact tractors, you might be Category 1, but when you get into Category 2, you have more weight and more lift, and that makes a big difference. Also, again, when you're dealing with these types of equipment, you have to kind of look at what's available. But they're well worth purchasing because of so many different things you can do with it. And a lot of times, too, that when you're buying a utility tractor, they are all manual shifts. Meaning you might have a clutch, you're going to have to put it in the gear, and then you're going to have to let off the clutch to go at certain speeds. But almost all of them nowadays, especially new tractors, have what's called shuttle shift. That once you're in the gear, you can actually put your clutch down and then come to a stop. Basically, shuttle forward will actually let you go forward. And if you could pull the shuttle down backward, which is just a lever, down a different direction, you let off the clutch, you go backwards. So you don't have to shift all the time to go forward and back. It's all within a lever on the shift. But some of the older tractors, everything's shifting manually on the ground, including your reverse and your forward. The key in buying a utility tractor, though, is buying one that has multiple gears, and you can go very slow and very fast. So the more gears, the better, versus one that has less gears. So if I had a choice of a tractor with an 8-speed or a 12-speed, I would take a 12-speed tractor over 4-speed or 8-speed tractor all day long because it gives me more layers or more gears. Some of them have a hydrostatic, whereas you can have basically a lever that you can go low, medium, or high, and it increases your gears. So you might only have 6 gears, but if you're in low, you're slow for 6 gears. And if you go to medium, you're a little faster for 6 gears. And then if you have 6 more gears, you go up, you'll have 18 gears, and you can go do different things. So what I'm trying to tell you is gear ratio is going to differ on so many different types of models that are out there, and you just have to shop around and see what's available when you look for utility tractors. Also, utility tractors a lot of times come in either open station or cab. And you have to choose, do you want a cab or do you want to have an open station? I prefer cabs because I'm in northeastern Ohio. I deal with cold, I deal with rain, and I deal with snow. And basically, they get me more times than I have bright sunny days. Also, if it is a bright sunny day, I don't really want to get skin cancer, so I kind of like to be in a cab. So I find more benefits of having cabs than not, and they fit really well with utility tractors. So I enjoy having those, and it's a little quieter in the cab. And again, you can have air conditioning, you could have heat, and you can have a radio. And it makes it a lot more fun to operate a machine for long periods of time when you have things that can occupy your time. So I enjoy doing that. Now, you can still have an open station, and you can drive any tractor, whether it's a compact or utility, with a set of headset radios. But it's a little bit nicer when you have a cab, because it keeps you out of the weather and away from bugs. And I just say I find more benefit from having a cab than not, personally. But that's up to you, and you have to choose that. But at least that's an option out there with utility type tractors. Um, they are almost all of them. You can buy them in diesel and you can buy them in gas, same as you can with a compact. And they are easy to operate, just like anything else. There's a learning curve to it. But there is a large amount of accessories when we talk about attachments and many different buckets that are out there that you can get. And you want to buy a newer one with quick attach. Do not buy a tractor that does not have quick attach. You're going to find out it's really limits you in the things you can do. Well, with the quick attach loader, you can do just about anything. You can get all kinds of different types of tools. It makes changing out very quick and very easy. Also, make sure you buy a utility tractor that has power steering, because power steering, especially if you're getting in these old tractors, new tractors, you want power steering because it makes it a lot easier for you to operate, and you can't go wrong with that, and that makes a big difference. Now, what are some of the key considerations for even buying a utility tractor? Well, first off, you got to assess your needs. And I'm going to tell you that there's not a thing out there that you can't use a utility tractor for. And that is really what it comes down to. And I did one of our series, I think series 16 is get the right size tractor. What is the best size? For me, if I had a choice of buying one size tractor, my first tractor, if I'd buy one that will be used for everything that I can use on my farm, I can use it for cutting grass, I can use it for land clearing, and I can make money on side jobs for it, and I can use it in my hay operation, I would actually say a 70 horse utility tractor is by far, in my opinion, the best size tractor that you can get, and you can do just about anything with it. It has the horsepower to get you to drive through different things. If it's four-wheel drive, that will enhance it if you're getting stuck a little bit. You can do gravel driveways and tear them apart easily. You can do a little bit of running 7-foot tillers without a problem. You can get a lot done with a 70-horse tractor because it's going to give you a good amount of lift capacity that you can lift easily a ton worth of material. It's going to have more stability, and it's really user-friendly. And it might be intimidating at first for people thinking it's a big machine, but it really isn't once you get used to it. You know, the sad part is once you get on a compact tractor, you're going to think you're on something big. But then when you get on bigger farm tractors, you're like, oh, that's a big machine. But after a while, once more you use it and the more you get comfortable with it, you're going to find out it's really not as big. You know, I bought a 55 horsepower utility tractor, and it had a cab. It was my first brand new tractor I ever purchased. It was about 8 years ago. And at that time, it was like $35,000. It had a loader, and it had a cab, and it was 55 horse. And I thought I was like the king. Like I was on this big machine. And that's funny now because I have 100 and 150 horse tractors, and I look at that poor little 55, and I think to myself how small it was. But I felt really intimidated when I got on it, and I felt like I was driving this big machine, but realistically it was very small. When compared to my 70 horse is just a little bit bigger and it has bigger front tires, and they do relatively the same thing, but I like the 70 horse because it's better and a faster loader, and it does things a little bit more efficiently, and it's easier to manage for me. So I like that tractor, but each tractor has its purpose for me on my farm. And my little 55 horse, its main job is to run my rebaling operation, and it does a good job for that, and I really like it for that purpose. But every tractor I have has a purpose behind it. It may not start that way, but it ends up that way. And I have learned, though, that when it comes down to utility tractors, that is by far the best machine that I could think of. And on a budget-wise, yeah, they're going to be more expensive, and when you compare it to a compact tractor. But understand this, too. If you're buying a bunch of attachments, you're spending a lot of money, when you want to have a machine that can do more with that and get more done, more not only productivity-wise, but give you a better result or end result. And let me give you a quick example. If I took a compact tractor right now, even if it's 40 horse, we'll say, and I take it on my gravel driveway, and assume my gravel driveway needs new gravel, but it's very compacted, and I need a machine, and I give them both the same type of implement on the back end. And I say, go up and down the driveway and be able to scar fire the ground and rip up the compacted gravel and loosen it up. And you're going to find that the 40 horse tractor is going to have a harder time getting through and being able to really tear up the driveway, but with the 70 horse, we'll go through it like it's butter. And just because you have a little bit more horsepower, you're going to have a little bit more drive, that machine's going to do a little bit better job and it's going to be more efficient. Same thing is about plowing snow. I have an 80-some inch bucket that I can sit there and I can make 2 passes and I can pretty much get rid of my snow. Or if you have a compact tractor, it might take you 5 or 6 passes to do the same work. So it all depends on what results are you looking for. You know, if I got a big log, the odds are I can come in with a set of forks, pick it up, and move it a lot easier than say I could with a compact tractor. So there's benefits behind having a little bit more horsepower. The only thing is the initial cost. But if you take away the concept that it's going to cost you more, but it's going to be your workhorse and it's a tractor you're going to have for years to come, invest in one that you know that you're going to enjoy and you're going to have and be able to get something out of it. You know, even if you can go make money on the side with it, you have a better probability of making money with the larger horse machine than you can with a compact tractor because you're going to get better results. And I think that makes a big difference. So these are some of the reasons why I would definitely consider doing that. If you have a choice of 2-wheel versus 4-wheel, like I said before, go with the 4-wheel. Can't go wrong. And it's going to, you got to budget this. This is something that comes down to what kind of money you have. Also, look at all the features. Does it come with remotes? How many sets of remotes, which are basically hydraulic hoses at the back end that you can use? I always suggest if you're buying a utility tractor, get yourself 2 sets of remotes. And why do you need that? The reason for that is I'm a big stickler on having a hydraulic top link. I love hydraulic top links. And what a hydraulic top link is that basically a tractor has 3 points when you connect to hydraulics. You have 2 bars on the bottom that lift and lower, and you have the third one is a stability one. But when you have the hydraulic top link, you adjust it in different lengths. So it basically tilts your implement. Hydraulic top link is that hydraulic tilt, but it's hydraulic. So I can sit in the tractor, instead of getting out of the tractor and try to preset it, I can adjust it with the hydraulics on the tractor and I can pull it up or down and adjust my implement just at the seat of the tractor. It is by far one of the greatest things out there, and I suggest that if you have an opportunity with a utility tractor, always get a hydraulic top link. And you always want 2 sets of remotes because it'll make a big, huge difference for you down the road. Because if I'm running my hay baler, with a round, I'll say my round baler, it has a set of remotes, but sometimes I need 4 sets, and I need it specifically when I run my wrapper. My wrapper is a hydraulic, and I also use the hydraulic top link, and I use it for everything. You can use a hydraulic top link on a box scraper, you can use it on a brush hog, you can use it on a flail mower, you can use it on all kinds of equipment. So I suggest that's worth the investment. But some of the downsides of a utility is really going to come down as money. It's going to cost you money, and it's going to cost you more money. Say a 70-horse tractor, or a tractor in general, it costs you about $1,000 per horsepower. So if you're going out and buy a brand new tractor, assume it's going to cost you, say, $600 to, between $800 and $1,000 per horsepower that you buy. So a 60-horse or 70-horse tractor might cost you $60,000 to $70,000. With, depending on all the bells and whistles that you have. So if you want to buy a 40-horse tractor, it might cost you $32,000 to $40,000. So it gives you an idea. But you can buy a used tractor for maybe $20,000 to $40,000. So maybe that's worth the investment. Because what I'm trying to tell you is this: a tractor is not like buying a car. I bought 2 brand new tractors, but I'll never buy a brand new car because the tractors will last me a lifetime. That car is only going to last me 5 to 10 years, and then it's going to be trashed and it's going to depreciate. A tractor will retain its value for a longer period of time. I have older tractors. I have a Ford 7710 that's about 9,800 horsepower, and I have an Oliver 1855. The Oliver's got a new engine in it, and it's probably worth 20 grand. But if you bought it brand new back in the day, you could buy it for $15,000 brand new. The Ford is a 7710, has a brand new engine in it because they both blew. It cost me 20 grand to fix them both. They're at least $25,000 tractors. So, you're gonna have money, invested in these things, but they'll last you a lifetime. And the downfall buying used, especially when you get higher up in the horsepower, or even if it's a compact, the closer you get to 5,000 hours, the more leery you have to be of potential overhauls or engines going bad, because it could happen at any time. You just never know it. So, but That's the risk of buying used. But buying used is something you should pay attention to. Now, when you buy utility tractors, they're bigger, so you better have a bigger storage. You might need a barn, that can have something that fits in at 10 foot. You might not be able to get into an 8-foot garage because it's not going to work. You need at least 10 to 12 foot. Makes a big difference. You also might have a learning curve because you're getting into a different tractor and you want to figure out how it works and what makes it work better for you. And again, get on the internet, watch YouTube videos, learn as much as you can about that piece of equipment. It'll help you out a lot depending on what you're going to do. Also, understand that maintenance on a compact tractor or whether it's a utility tractor is going to be about the same. So it's going to cost you about $100, $150 an hour for a mechanic to fix it unless you can do it yourself. So it's going to be expensive, but maintenance is key because the more you maintain your piece of equipment, the better off you are. So like I said, I love my utility tractor, and the only thing I can tell you, my story is, if I want to really break this down, is that I have a 55 horse utility tractor and I have a 70 horse. I find the 70 horse utility tractor works better for me. It's more stable. Now, I've almost flipped over on several times with both of these tractors. And at both times I was trying to lift a skid full of bedding. And I don't have my tires loaded, but I do always tell people that if you are going to lift anything heavy with the tractor, and because that with the loader, everything is out forward, you actually have something that's a counterbalance behind you. So I have implements that are maybe 1,000 or 2,000 pounds behind me, so I have that counterbalance. But what I get nervous about is when you have a skid of bedding, which is this big, and you're going in with a set of forks, and say that it's not perfectly even, you'll find out that if you're not just right, and because the tractor is leaning out forward as much as it is, and these tractors are about 6,000 to 7,000 pounds, okay, you're picking up a skid that's 2,000, you're generally best to be in four-wheel drive for one. And number two is when you come in, if it shifts just a little bit, sometimes you'll feel the tractor kind of lift up and not balance. Now, it's easy to say you're fine when you're on a smooth concrete driveway, but if you're on off-road like I am on my gravel driveway, and say I'm on my driveway and I have uneven ground a little bit, anything could shift on you and you're going to feel like that tractor is going to go over. So it's very, very scary. So you got to be very smart on how you lift stuff up with these machines. Just because the dealer tells you, hey, it's okay, you can lift this, doesn't mean it's going to work well for you down the road. Also, when you talk about lift capacity, it's at the pins right before the bucket, and they'll say you can lift 2,500 pounds. Well, if you're going out and you're buying a bucket or say a set of forks and the forks weigh 300 pounds, well, automatically you've got 300 pounds minus that from the 2,500, you can only lift 2,200 pounds. So the time that you lift a ton, you only have 200 pounds to play with. So you got to be safe on what you run and how you lift things up, and just don't assume, you have to count. What I'm trying to say is you have to compensate for the attachment, the bucket weight, the fork weight on top of whatever you are lifting. Same thing goes with a grapple. You want a machine that can lift as much as possible and be safe about it. That's all. And I find that utility tractors will lift, but you have to be careful of how you manage it on lifting product. Don't assume you're just going to be driving around the yard with a load of material, because it doesn't take much to turn. Same thing with buckets of dirt. They'll be 2,000 pounds if it's wet dirt, and you get these big buckets and you get a scoop, and all of a sudden you cut the wheel tight and you're trying to turn, and you're on an uneven area, that tractor may start to go over on you. So be careful. And that's all I have to say about that. So, these loaders are designed as a little helpful hint to people that are using these tractors, whether it's a compact or a big tractor. But, when it comes down to moving material, they're really not designed to do the same type of work as a backhoe that's made to move dirt, or a skid steer that's made to move material. Those are two different machines. And so just because the loader is on a compact tractor, it may not function as well as you think it should as it does a skid steer. Because when you compare a skid steer to a tractor, that's like night and day when it comes down to moving material. That's all I want you to know about that. But utility tractors, by far, I think are wonderful. And once I bought that, if I would have been able to go back in time in 1995, and instead of buying my little Ford 800, and if I had the money, which I didn't, but even if I would have bought a used machine, and if I had a grapple and a few other toys that went with that, I would have done a lot more damage in my land clearing and done more for my property if I had the right equipment. And what I noticed more than anything else is that I find more people that in my neighborhood, some people, because of affordability, they buy too small of a machine. But bottom line is, I know in my heart that I know that they need a bigger machine. And so when you're looking at moving material, doing more farm work, and you want more diversity in the stuff that you're moving, definitely look into a utility tractor, because you're going to get more bang for your dollar and you can do more with it. And attachments generally are cheaper because you can find more used pieces of equipment than you can for compacts. And that is why I think a utility tractor is best for you. And I think 70 horsepower is the best size in my opinion. And it works best for me. But again, just like looking for a compact tractor, shop around and find the tractor that works best for you and see if that works for your goals. And it's all going to come down to money, bottom line. But I'll tell you what, it's well worth every penny when you have the right machine to do the right job. And what I like about my utility 70 horse, I use it on my hay operation. That's my go-to tractor for just about anything I need on my farm. And if I'm not using that tractor, I'm using the skid steer. Generally, those are the two go-tos. I have my big 150 horse tractors. They only used are for farm equipment only, or maybe hooked up to a dump trailer running around my property. Other than that, they don't get used. That utility tractors, the 50s and the 70s, are the most used tractors that I have. And that 70 is by far my #1 choice because I like it the best. So again, shop around, find the one you want. I think you'll be happy. I don't care about the brands that you find, but shop around, talk to dealers, try out as many machines as possible. And these are one of those things that I would definitely be trying everything out. I would take that tractor on the road. I would lift the loaders. I would look at the speed. Another thing, I made a mistake when I bought my one tractor is it had a self-leveling loader, meaning that it will, every time I lift the bucket, it would stay at a certain level position. Well, for hay, it's terrible, because if I go in and I spear a round bale and I try to lift up, I can't tilt it and curl it like I need to. And a lot of times it's because it has to stay level. And what happens is the bale sometimes would fall off and it would piss me off. So I would never do self-leveling. I'd rather just eyeball it. And because a lot of these machines have a leveling position, once you find out where that position is, that's a better way to go. I would not ever get a self-leveling bucket. It's not worth it. I just think that you're better off to curl it as much as you can and be able to dump it, and it'll be better off for you. The other thing too is I also want to add too is the height that you can get on a utility tractor makes a big deal, especially when you're dealing with hay. Because my problem is my 55 horse can only lift 12 foot, maybe 13 foot high, whereas my Kubota can lift, and it's a 70 horse tractor, 14 foot high. So the higher the lift, the better off it is for me to stack hay. And that might be something you have to look into when you're looking at buying a tractor. Again, depending on what your goals are, it's going to dictate what you're going to do with that machine. And that's why it makes a big difference. So when it comes down to cutting my grass, and because I choose a utility tractor above a compact, the machine that I use predominantly to cut my grass is a zero-turn mower. I think they do a better job and a more professional job, and they're more efficient than a compact tractor. So that's why I lean more toward the utility size tractors, because that is a huge factor in the difference between going bigger or going smaller. Not only is the load capacity with the loader a big factor for me and the horsepower to pull better attachments, but it is also, obviously I don't use it for cutting grass. But if you need a tractor for cutting grass, the compact may be for you. But if you're into these other things, think about a zero-turn, because I think a zero-turn does a really more professional job than a compact tractor, and they're a lot faster and you can get around things a lot easier. That's just my take on it. You do what you will, but these are things you need to evaluate and research. And again, find what works best for your operation. But anyway, thanks for watching this episode dealing with utility tractors. Hopefully that was helpful. And next we'll be talking about another topic related to farm equipment. And I can't even tell you which direction I'm going with it yet, but I'll come up with another solution for another good podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. And leave me some feedback on what your thoughts are with utility tractors. You know, this is my opinion, and everybody has a lot of opinions on these things. Leave me some feedback and comments on, you know, what you think about utility tractors and some of your input. I appreciate every bit of it, and I think other people will also appreciate it as well. Again, see you guys later. Stay safe.